Good morning, dear friends. So glad to see you. Good morning, dear friends. So glad to see you. Good morning, dear friends. So glad to see you. Do you hear the birds this morning? That first bird was a red-shouldered hawk. That's one of my favorites. And we have a family of them that live right here. It's a noisy day in the woods this morning. I'm so glad to be out here with you and have the chance to tell a story. There's a little bit of rain falling. I wonder if it'll start raining while I'm out here telling a story. That would be pretty exciting. The birds are waking up and they are making a lot of noise. It certainly is spring in the forest. Friends, I'm Miss Becca, and this is Storytime in the Woods, and I am so glad that you are here with me. This is my favorite part of the day. Welcome, and welcome to all of our feathered friends who've joined us this morning. It sounds like it might be quite noisy with birds. Friends, this morning I have a story to tell you about Grandpa Ivy and a particularly windy day. And wind is something we've had a lot of where I live. There's been quite a bit of wind, and it made me think of this story. Let's call our story fairies, and we'll hear the story of Grandpa Ivy and the windy day. Story fairies, come and bring stories clear and true. Story fairies, come and bring stories to our story ring. Grandpa Ivy lived in a town called Riverbend in the Appalachian Mountains. It was named Riverbend because the town was right in a big bend of the river. And every spring, the winds would come to Riverbend and they would blow through everything. And on this particular spring night, Grandpa Ivy was woken up by the sound of branches as they gently hit the side of his house as the wind blew all around. And as the wind blew through his old home, it moaned and groaned through the doors and the windows. Grandpa Ivy got out of bed early and he went out on the porch to watch the wind in the trees. The jack pine across his yard was bending this way and that in the wind. There were little branches scattering here and there, and some of last year's leaves were once again blowing around. As Grandpa Ivy watched all of the wind, he thought, today would be a good day to go to the meadow and fly a kite. And then he started to think about who he would invite to come fly a kite with him when the wind came and it whipped around Grandpa Ivy, and it took the hat right off the top of his head. And the hat went flying up in the air, and it landed in a pine tree. And there Grandpa could see it, way up high in the tree. And he remembered when he was just a young lad, and he could climb a tree like that quick and easy. But now Grandpa Ivy was quite old, and he didn't think he could climb the tree like he used to be able to, especially on a windy day like this. And he was looking up there at the hat and wondering how he was going to get the hat back onto his head when his neighbor Dante ran into his yard. "Grandpa Ivy," said Dante, "I was looking out my bedroom window and I thought I saw your hat in your tree." And they both looked up there together. "Yep," said Grandpa Ivy, "it sure is." And with that, Dante started to climb the tree. He had strong arms and legs, and it didn't take him long to climb up the trunk and get to the branch that was holding the hat. Grandpa Ivy held his breath as Dante went out on the branch to where the hat was. Just as Dante was reaching for the hat, another big wind came, and it took the hat out of the tree and put it right back on the ground. And then it started rolling. It rolled this way and it rolled that way. Well, Grandpa Ivy took off after it. He started chasing the hat in his yard this way and that, and it just kept rolling away from him in the wind. Soon, Dante was down out of the tree and helping Grandpa Ivy. Just when they thought they were going to reach the hat, another big gust of wind came, and this time it took the hat right off the ground and put it on Grandpa Ivy's roof. That's right on the top of his house. Well, he and Dante went to the garage and got a ladder. And Dante held the bottom of the ladder while Grandpa Ivy climbed up it. Grandpa Ivy went all the way to the top of the ladder, and then he turned around and he looked out from up there at the roof line. He could see the whole town of Riverbend. His heart swelled as he saw the bakery and the library and the post office. He saw the rooftops and the chimneys of all of his neighbors and his friends. Grandpa Ivy loved the town of Riverbend, and it felt like such a treat to be able to be up here looking down on everything. Well, of course, while he was spending this time thinking about his town, the wind returned, and it took the hat off the roof and put it back on the ground, where once again it started rolling around. Dante started to chase the hat. Then Grandpa Ivy came down the ladder, and he too chased the hat. It rolled through a puddle and even through the garden. Back and forth they ran. And then Grandpa Ivy was tired. He was so tired that he plopped in the middle of his yard. And he looked at Dante and he said, "You know what? I like my hat, but not enough to chase it around the yard all day. I need to rest." And the two of them sat there next to each other in the yard, and they watched as the hat carried the wind this way and that. And then they started to think about their morning. How Dante had climbed a tree and Grandpa Ivy had climbed a ladder, and still the hat was outrunning them. The two of them started to laugh. And while they were laughing, something very funny indeed happened. Grandpa Ivy's hat fell right out of the sky and landed plop in his lap. Well, he and Dante looked at each other, and then they started to belly laugh, and they laughed, and they laughed. Grandpa Ivy was holding his hat close to his chest. He didn't want it to fly away again. And he looked at Dante, and he said, "Dante, I was thinking about going to the meadow to fly a kite, and there's no one I'd like to have with me more than you. What do you say?" Dante thought this was a great idea, except he had one thought to add to that. "Grandpa Ivy," he said, "I think you should leave your hat at home." And then the two of them laughed again. And Grandpa Ivy said, "Let's go and get the kite, and then let's have some pancakes and maple syrup for breakfast before we go." That was the perfect plan for a windy morning. So off the two went for a pancake breakfast with maple syrup, and then to the meadow to fly a kite. And all was well in the world. That, my friends, is the story of Grandpa Ivy and the windy day. It's a silly story, but I bet you know how the wind can do that. It can take things and move them from here to there, whether we want it to or not. I'm glad Grandpa Ivy got his hat back. Friends, thank you for being here with me today for Storytime in the Woods. I'm glad it didn't start to rain on us. And I am also glad that the birds joined us this morning. You know, spring is returning when the songs of my favorite birds are here. Thank you for being a part of my morning, friends, and for coming to Storytime in the Woods. Know that you are loved.